Hi, I'm Matt Dean, Chief Mechanic at Mercedes AMG Petronas Formula One team, and I'm here to answer your questions from the internet. This is F1 Mechanic Support. This question is from the Tools subreddit. Mechanics, what is your favourite or most underrated tool? Some of the tools that we actually use are quite different to what you would use on a regular car. They can be quite small. A big mechanic's favourite is this one. It's called a bit driver. Super low profile, we can change the bits over it quite easily, and it's really good to getting into really confined spaces on the car, underneath the bodywork and the fairings and all the winglets on the car. Actually, let's go and have a look at the tools. So one of the favourite tools of the mechanic is the F1 wheel gun. This is used to loosen and tighten the wheel nut up itself. Unlike regular road cars, we only have one wheel nut. So as the car comes in, the mechanic has to line this wheel gun up with the wheel nut. He goes on, pulls the trigger. As he comes off, changes direction on the wheel gun. The new wheel is fitted, and then he comes back in, pulls the trigger to tighten the wheel nut up. Once he's finished, he's lifting the wheel gun up in the air, pressing the button here to acknowledge that that wheel nut is tight and the car can leave the pit box. All of this happens in less than 2.2 seconds. And this is your regular leaf blower. We use this to cool the engine down as the car comes into the pit box, and also to cool the brakes. So we've worked with Einhell on this tool to ensure we get the maximum airflow through the brake ducts and through the radiators of the car to cool them down as quick as possible. So now I've showed you a couple of the tools, let's get back to some more questions. Our next question is from YGG. Dumbest way you've ever lost a tool? Probably shouldn't say this if Toto's watching, but I was fitting a fuel cell to the car, which made out of a Kevlar, very flexible material. You put the fuel bag into the car, and you've got to get your hands right in the corners to try and get the fuel bag to expand within the cockpit itself, the chassis itself. I didn't have long enough arms, so I used a hammer, a rubber hammer. Used it, poked the fuel bag out, fitted the fuel bag fine, fitted the rest of the fuel system, buttoned all the top hatches on, so it was all ready to go. Sent the car out, and it was probably about a race later that I'd realised I'd lost my hammer and it was left in the fuel system. We've had other issues where tools have fallen out of mechanics' hands and have gone down in between the V of the engine and the gearbox bell housing, and all the rest of the mechanics just look at each other and go, oh my God, now we've got to pretty much take the whole car apart to try and fish this socket or the spanner out of where this mechanic's dropped the tool. So normally he's buying the beers on that evening. A Cora user asks, what is more important in Formula One, the car or the driver? Obviously, we as mechanics would say the car, drivers will say themselves. An age-old question, really. Everything has to work together. The car, the engineers, everybody back at the factory, the engine side of Brixworth, and the driver. It's a team sport, and that's why everybody works together to try and get those final tenths of a second out of the track time. This is from Fogarty4, how to become a Formula One mechanic. I get asked that question a lot, and I think the best advice that I could give you is learn how to use spanners, learn how to use ratchets, and whether that's from when you're a little kid, repairing bicycles, repairing motorbikes, building go-karts. There are a number of colleges, and there's a couple of colleges at Silverstone, I believe, that you can go there, you can train, but actually getting that hands-on experience is vital. We often take people from the lower formulas, they start in Formula Ford, move their way up to Formula 3, Formula 2, so it's a great training ground for mechanics. And then once you get to us in Formula One, you know how to use your spanners, you know how to use torque wrenches. You've gone through your training, you've dabbled with bicycles when you were a kid, you've worked on your motorbikes, you worked on your go-kart, you've gone to college, you've got all your qualifications. What do you do next? You've got to get yourself seen. Pester me, pester the guys that are working on the team. Drop them some emails, get yourself noticed out there. But certainly, if you're working in the lower formulas, Formula 2, Formula 3, they support a lot of the F1 races, so it's great, you're in there, you're traveling with the teams, so you get to know other people. I mean, that's super important. Next thing you've got to deal with is strapping George Russell in the car on the grid. You've got to deal with that pressure and, getting used to the amount of people around you, the cameras, and dealing with all that side of Formula One, the travel, and just working within a team environment, being a good team player. From Gonzo5622, do F1 mechanics get angry when their driver crashes? Yes, definitely, some more than others. I try and remain calm, but there's a lot of the guys, the younger ones especially, they can get quite upset about it. Obviously, we're at the end of the chain. There's thousands of people back at the factory producing all the car parts for us to assemble. The car goes out on track. If the driver has an accident into the wall or something fails on the car, it's an awful lot of work for us to start putting that car back together. And we have to do it often after P1 or P2. There's a short amount of time for us to repair those cars, so it's all hands on deck to get that finished and the car back out on track. So next one's from Mean Divide 490, explain like I'm 5. Why are F1 drivers hot if wind is coming at them at 200 to 300 kilometers per hour? Often we're working in places like Singapore, Qatar, where the ambient is 34 to 38 degrees. You've got to remember these drivers are sat in a really confined space. They've got an engine that's running behind them at incredible high temperatures. They've got brakes that are raging hot in front of them. And they've got all these electrical boxes that sit around them. So the temperatures in the car can get as high as 48 degrees. In fact, now the drivers are wearing cool suits to try and cool them down during the race. Also, there's small ducts in the side of the car that blow cool air over the drivers to try and cool them down during the race. But you'll see in often races, the drivers will get out of the car, they're absolutely maxed out. They're so hot, you can hardly stand when they get out of these cars.